Hello everybody and welcome to this new lesson. In fact, this is the first lesson in a new section, which is section 5, titled ActiveSync Sentry. So this section will talk about how to integrate your ActiveSync exchange into the EPMM, so the roaming users, mobile users are able to access their mailboxes while they are traveling or not in the office. So basically, if you remember guys, we identified the role of the sentry as being a reverse proxy, which you need to connect to in order to be able to access behind or back-end resources. So we already know that sentry can also act as reverse proxy to access resources like IIS server, the scenarios that we already performed together in the previous sections, through the app tunnel. So the sentry can act as an app tunnel role, or act as ActiveSync role when you want to access your exchange. Okay, so in this section we will focus on the ActiveSync role of sentry. Because we already said that it's best practice, it's recommended to separate the roles. Because of that, we will first do a fresh installation of a sentry to dedicate it for the ActiveSync role. Because if you remember guys, in previously we have already installed a sentry and we have dedicated its role for app tunnel. Still, you can enable ActiveSync and use the same sentry, but this is not the best practice. This is not recommended. Actually, if you do that, the troubleshooting will be much harder for you, because I will give you one scenario. For example, you can choose settings for the app tunnel that mandate the same settings for the ActiveSync, and the ActiveSync, maybe you need something else, or you need to have more granular configuration, so the app tunnel will pose specifics on your ActiveSync. So it's just to make it easier for you guys, app tunnel make it for one sentry, ActiveSync for another sentry. So we need to install a new sentry. Actually, I did the installation for you guys to save your time. We already did the installation in detail for sentry in previous section. So if you have passed this already, you can refer back to this section. It was in section 2, if I remember correctly. Okay, so here we need to make the installation, and then we will go through lessons for configuring the exchange settings for the iOS, Windows, and Android. So you can see here, this is the first lesson. We will catch up the lesson in this video. The first lesson, the ActiveSync integration itself, we will talk about the sentry installation, and then we will come to the exchange configuration for the iOS and Windows. So both of them follow the same configuration template, and then we will go for third lesson for the Android, because Android has specific configuration. Okay, so this is all about this section. So let's jump in for the first lesson. So the ActiveSync integration lesson here will start by having a look on the exchange ActiveSync setup that I have in my lab. So basically I have one exchange server installed with ActiveSync role already coming inside the installation of the exchange. Okay, and in my exchange I have multiple users with multiple mailboxes. We're gonna focus on 3 mailboxes: the Android user at clab.local, the iOS user at clab.local, and the Windows user at clab.local, because we have integrated already the 3 devices into our EPMM, as you remember. So we have an Android user, we have iOS user and Windows user. Android user on Android mobile, and Android 13, the iOS user on iPhone XR, okay, and the model, you can see the model here. If we go, this is my test iPhone. Okay, let me iPhone XR, yeah, it's there, it's here already also. Okay, so even the model of the Android is mentioned here. It's Oppo model, and the Windows user is just Windows 10 device, okay, PC. So we gonna focus on this, guys. We'll try to configure or provision the Exchange for all of them, and then we will test sending emails between them, okay. Part of the integration requirements is that you create MX record in our internal DNS, so the Exchange role can work perfectly, and they are able to send emails to each other. So simply I have added an MX record. So the mail exchanger record is different from the normal DNS-A record that we use to do for just resolving a normal FQDN. So here it's required for the Exchange mailbox. So this is actually created on my internal DNS, okay. And if you want, I can show this to you also, guys. So if I go to my internal DNS, okay, so I have here, let me open it, DNS. So basically I have in my seclab.local, I have this record, the Exchange mailbox, okay. So this is the IP, this is a normal DNS-A record. This is the MX record that I created for my Exchange. So basically it's this one, okay. And next we need to focus on the 3 users, the iOS user, so we can connect to the OA of that user, okay. So iOS user, currently there is no emails, and the Windows user and the Android user. So basically I have them open here. So this is the Windows user. So let's take the password. Let's copy the master password we use everywhere. So this is the Windows user. I'm logging here from Edge, okay. So this is the Windows user, and here is the iOS user. I'm logging from Firefox, and this is the Android user. I'm logging from Chrome. So I can open the 3 at the same time from 3 different browsers to avoid the cookies being exchanged between the browsers, okay. So this is will be our focus, guys. And then here we need to install a new Sentry. So this is the Sentry configuration. So simply I give it IP 125, and it follows the same exact settings for the Sentry and the core that we configured before. If you are in doubt of this, refer to the lab setup section where we do the where we did the installation of the Sentry, okay. So here we need to create a new DNS records in both internal and external DNS. So this is a mistake here. Actually the name is MI Sentry 2. I already mentioned that here, but here I put here by mistake. So it's MI Sentry 2.seclab.local. I created this actually internal and external DNS to be able to resolve the Sentry. So the Sentry can resolve its host name from the configured DNS, okay. So basically I created on the internal DNS and also on the external DNS for our mobile devices to be able to reach the second Sentry that that will be used for ActiveSync, so they are able to reach it to access the Exchange in the back end. So basically here you can see I have the MI Sentry 2 created with IP 125. So 88.125 is the internal IP or the real IP of the server. However, if we go to the external DNS, which is 18.139, So guys, if you are in doubt about internal, external, refer again to the lab setup section so you can understand the position of this every component I'm referring to. I spent much time in explaining the setup. The network setup is very important, so you can refer to this section to be able to follow up with me. Okay, so here if I go with the server manager to check the DNS, this is the external server. So here I have the MI Sentry 2 created, 18.125. So 18.125 is the external and 88.125 is the internal. So I already installed the Sentry 2 and it has the IP and configured correctly with the gateway, my firewall. Okay, so this is the MI Sentry 2. Okay, that is configured. Okay, and it's ready for usage. Okay, so currently the my setup has the firewall, the FortiGate, the external DNS, the internal DNS, and remember guys, external DNS is hosting the certificate revocation list, as we explained in the previous section. Was the first lesson on the previous section, the lab setup modification, where we hosted the certificate revocation list on the external DNS. And we have the MI Core 1, MI Sentry 1, and now we installed the MI Sentry 2. We have our Exchange and the IIS server still there, and the Windows PC that we are using for simulating a roaming Windows user. Okay, so this is the installation done. On the firewall side, I created a new web on the firewall for destination netting. Okay, so basically I added MI Sentry 2 in the firewall rule, so whoever coming from the internet from port 1 to port 3, they are able to access MI Sentry 2. So before we have MI Core and MI Sentry, all what I need to add is MI Sentry 2 with the netting between 18.125 to be netted to 88.125. So it is actually a destination net. This is the source, this is the destination. So a destination netting, and no need for additional netting or source netting. It's not required actually. Okay, so we have explained all of this before. Now we need to connect the new Sentry to the core. So starting from here, I will be doing the setup or the connecting this new Sentry to the core. I will do the hands-on with you starting from this slide, because the installation is already done before in previous sections. So I'm just saving your time by doing this offline. I already did that offline, and we'll start the hands-on from this slide. So here we need to connect the new Sentry, the Sentry 2, to the MI Core 1. So you can connect as much Sentries as you want to same to the main core. This is actually flexible deployment or flexible architecture by Ivanti to provide you the flexibility to scale out horizontally. Okay. And start dedicating sentries to different roles in order to make your life easier, in order to distribute the load among different sentries. In our case here, we have now two sentries. The first sentry, MI Sentry 1, is was used for uptunnel. MI Sentry 2 will be used for the ActiveSync. It's called now ActiveSync Sentry. Okay, so we need to actually configure the new Sentry. We need to enable the ActiveSync, as there's a screenshot. We will select the device authentication as pass-through, and then the ActiveSync configuration itself. Again, we will set the server authentication to pass-through. So the first one is the device itself. When the device authenticate to the Sentry, it has to provide its username and password. Okay. And this is actually will be inherited from the password of the client connecting to the Sentry, because for example, in the case of the iOS or the Android, the Ivanti client installed the mobile at work client already has the username and password of the user, because the user has already provided the username and password during the registration. So once he connect to the sentry simply asks the core, this guy is coming and want to authenticate using pass-through. Shall I allow him? The core will say yes, he's active, he's not retired, so yes. So device authentication pass-through means username and password. The client already has the password, so it will not ask you again for the password. However, here when we say ActiveSync configuration server authentication pass-through, in this case we enable the basic authentication, so the sentry will ask you now for the password to grant you the access to the exchange. So this will be like one time, it will ask you for that. And then here we define the ActiveSync server exchange mailbox.seclab.local. So this entry is already defined in the DNS, okay, as a record and as MX record, as we said before. So here I mentioned all the settings that you need to do, okay, including finally enabling the server TLS. Okay, so we'll do that in action in short. And then we need to upload the certificates, the wildcard certificate that we generated for our SecLab setup. So we need to upload it in the core admin portal and the Sentry 2 system manager. Okay, and finally we need to validate the normal operation of the Sentry. So basically, let me expand this to show you the animation here. So when you validate, we need first of all, after you connect the Sentry, initially it will show in progress. So the Sentry is yet to request the EPMM for the identity certificate. Once it's exchanged the identity certificates with the Sentries, it will be changed to enable. So this is for mutual authentication. The Sentry validate the core and the core validates the Sentry. And next we need to, from the services overview, we need to check if the Sentry with ActiveSync is reachable or not. So we should see the mi-sentry2.seclab.local reachable and the exchange mailbox is reachable. Okay, so this is actually, guys, the first lesson. We need to now start doing the hands-on together. So let's go to the admin portal. Okay, so here, if we go to the services overview page and we scroll down, now we have only one Sentry, which is the mi-sentry1.seclab.local. It's reachable. And also it's reachable here in this service name ActiveSync, but there is no ActiveSync actually. So if we come here for the services, let's refresh this page. Okay, let's go here. Okay, so here I don't know if this, okay, let me go here. Okay, service Sentry. Okay, right. So here, guys, we have the mi-sentry one. So we just simply need to add a new standalone Sentry, and we will follow the presentation. So we need just to make it like this. Okay, so we need here to put mi-sentry2.seclab.local. Okay, and then here we enable the ActiveSync, and we'll leave the device authentication as pass-through and the server authentication as pass-through, and then we enable pass-through with basic authentication, and then here we will add here ActiveSync server. So the server name is exchange mailbox.seclab.local. Okay, and then finally we enable the server TLS. That's all. Okay, so let us review mi-sentry2.seclab.local. We enabled the ActiveSync. We configured the device authentication pass-through, the server authentication pass-through, enable pass-through with basic authentication, and then exchange mailbox.seclab.local, and finally enable server server TLS. Okay, so this is the settings that we need to do. Now we need to upload the SecLab wildcard certificate to Sentry2 in the following places: the core admin portal and the Sentry2 system manager. So I will start with the Sentry2 system manager. So I need actually to open the Sentry itself, my Sentry2, my admin, the password. Okay, so here if we go to security certificate management, so the certificate currently there is the self-signed certificate coming with the default installation. So here we manage certificate, and then here we add the key, the certificate, and the root CA certificate. So here simply I will choose seclab.key. Here I will choose seclab.cert. Here I will select the CA certificate. Okay, the 3 in that sequence. Upload certificate, yes. This will actually restart the Tomcat service. And next we need to, but just wait for this one. Actually, there is a good tip here. If you go to the monitoring of the Sentry itself, you can see here configuration. If we reload here, still Sentry is not configured. Okay, but you can notice here Sentry not configured, but you'll see here that it's like restarting whenever you make any change to the Sentry itself, but still it's not configured, it's not yet added to the core. But anyway, we should see actually the certificate changing in a bit, because still it's showing up the Sentry portal CA as the issuer. Okay, so it takes 2 minutes, or yeah, see, it's a session expired. So now if we log in, this time I put the password. So now if you check the certificate, you'll notice that the issuer is changed now to the SecLab root CA. So, and now we have the wildcard certificate. That's cool. Okay, so here you can see the, this is what I was referring to, the MICS service for system manager started, and now this is my login actually. So this is the first part I wanted to do for the which is referred here in the presentation, Sentry2 system manager. We have uploaded the wildcard certificate to the portal HTTPS. Okay, this actually doesn't make any difference in the configuration. This is the core thing that we need to do. Okay, so going back to the admin portal. Okay, yeah, here. Okay, so here I didn't save yet, so let's save this. Okay, so here you can see the Sentry2. When you hover the mouse here on that record, you see in progress. Sentry is not yet to request the EPMM for the identity certificate. So actually this is what I'm referring to here in the validation. So you'll see this, and after some time you should see enabled. Okay, and the most important thing that the status is success when you make this addition. So still, let's refresh. See, so you wait for this to become enabled before you upload the certificate here. Okay, now it's enabled, so you can give it a refresh. Yeah, it's enabled, so we can now upload the certificate. If you check the certificate, still it's the self-signed certificate. Okay, so we can also here manage certificate, and again add the 3. Here update the seclab.key, and then the seclab.cert, and then the ca.cert. Okay, key, certificate, and the root CA. Upload certificate. Okay, so again this will take some time. We can monitor from here, so you can see here where was the last login. I think here, restarting now. Yes, see, configuration change detected, restarting now, and see here the restart with the version of the Sentry 9.20, found compatible VSP. This refers to the core itself. So the sentry was able to found a compatible core version. Number of ActiveSync entries, no ActiveSync still running because we haven't configured yet. Up tunnels, also no up tunnels, because actually this sentry is not for up tunnel. This is the sentry 2. Up tunnel is on the other sentry. And changed SSL protocols, and so here you can see the logs, which is useful in troubleshooting. Okay, so here guys, if you check the certificate, still it's not showing up the new certificate. Okay, so we got here some errors. Okay, we have got some errors here. So okay, let's go to okay, so in that case we can try to upload the certificate again. Okay, browse SecLab key and then the SecLab cert and then the root certificate. Let's try it again. Okay, now it's showing success enabled. Okay, let's wait for some time. Now it's showing the right certificate. You see here our issuer is the SecLab root CA and *.seclab.local. So this happens sometimes that you see this error at the first attempt of uploading certificate. Just try to upload it again. Don't spend a lot of time in troubleshooting this Hessian thing. Try to upload the certificate again. If it just remain like this, you can try to delete the sentry, add it again. Even if it works, try to install a fresh sentry again. It's much better to waste your time troubleshooting such things. Okay, since you are doing a fresh installation, this is you are not troubleshooting something after periods of working in production. This is just a new implementation that we are doing. Okay, so we can see the certificate is applied successfully. So going back here, we validated the status is enabled with certificate uploaded. Now we can validate also the sentry with ActiveSync reachable in the service overview. So from here, remember guys, last time we see we have only still this one. Let's press the verify. We just need to verify this one. So you can see here now that the standalone sentry MI sentry 2 is reachable, and it has ActiveSync rule, and the exchange mailbox is reachable over 443. So this actually completes the first lesson. We have done the installation successfully, uploaded the certificates, and we already actually for the exchange configuration for iOS and Windows. This will be the topic of the next lesson. Thanks guys for watching, and see you in the next video.